listening to Whatever It Takes with Curt Schilling on the Breitbart Radio Network. Hey, welcome back to Whatever It Takes, Monday, August 7th, 2017. I'm your host, Curt Schilling, 877-240-1776. This is a call number. We talked quite a bit in the opening about Dutch. Darren Daulton, former teammate and friend, dear friend, passed away last night at the age of 55. Joining me now to talk about that is probably one of the most clutch human beings I've ever watched. I say often and over again, the smartest hitter I ever played with, along with Manny Ramirez, and a friend of mine, former teammate Lenny Dykstra. Good morning, Nails. What's up, buddy?
Chill. All right, man. Ditto on that clutch performance intro. So thank you.
Thank you. Listen, you on the '93 team, and when I got there, you and Dutch were thick as thieves. And you know, I watched in amazement because I'd never known Dutch really until I came over there, but he had a presence in the clubhouse I've never, ever been around. I never played with anybody after that that was as good at leading a clubhouse as he was. And really, he was a very deep person. He had a lot to him, but he had a good soul. And I was wondering if you just talk about maybe, your time with Dutch and some good memories.
Yeah, I mean, my best time with Dutch was when you were pitching and he was catching. I knew I'd be out of there in 2 hours. Because, Darren, he kind of, I kind of, in a way, took him under my wing hitting wise. He had trouble hitting, and so I kind of taught him, either hit right or you hit wrong.
Right.
I kind of, and if you remember, I think they batted him second for a while you get the hole and get some confidence. Yep. And then in '93, when we picked you up, and then I remember meeting you on the bus, and Daulton was on the bus with us, and then Dutch kind of, he's a vocal leader. He leads.
Yep.
I'm more of a by example or pull guy to the side. But Dutch was he was the guy that was the guy that kept everybody in line. He was our voice. He was he was a man. He was a real man.
The thing I said, Lenny, the thing that impressed me was part of being a leader is knowing your people. Dutch knew that he could challenge me publicly, and I wasn't going to curl up. And there were other guys. Dutch knew that, hey, listen, I'm not going to embarrass this guy publicly. I'll pull this guy to the side. I remember you and Dutch calling me aside in Atlanta my first year there over some off the field stuff, and it was. I never ever saw him or heard him do the wrong thing. And you're right. I played it with two kinds of leaders. And there were the Cal Ripkins of the world and Scott Rowlands and Lenny Dykstra who they didn't want to talk. They didn't want to have meetings. Just watch me play and play the way I play. And then there were guys like Darren who was like, listen, I play the way I play, but if you don't, I'm gonna explain to you to your face how to play. And that was one of the things that separated him from me. But again, Darren never. I play with a lot of guys who tried to do and be leaders who weren't really leaders. Darren never, ever said the wrong thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's where the game of baseball is, I think, changed drastically. It's almost like when we played, the night you were pitching, it was like the way you prepared and the way you were ready and the way, it was like, a week of work and intensity,
right?
Where and that carried through the clubhouse, and Daulton being the quarterback or the catcher, and then he kind of he set the tone for us. And by the way, when I played against him with the Mets, he was he hated me, but
yeah. Hey, we're on the internet, so we don't have censorship, so you can say whatever you want to say.
Oh yeah, well, that could be scary. But what I'm saying,
he didn't like you.
Well, when I played against him, but then I was honest. I mean, I was voted the most hated player in the league 5 years in a row by the opposing team. I mean, and that's because I made their job hard, Shill.
Yep.
You know how I work, man. And I mean, I actually, I had a little more I brought a little more to the party than you even thought, when I had to get those umpires, straightened out.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got to tell you, Lenny, I learned that from you, though. One of the things, and I tell people, I learned as much from great hitters as I did from good pitchers. And you and Manny are the two smartest hitters I ever played with. I can remember, I'll never ever forget Game 5 in Atlanta. And I'm telling this story, people, and this is honest God truth. Lenny Dykstra, before the at bat in the game, told me that he was going to face Mark Wohlers late, and he said, and I'll work the count full, and he's going to try and put a fastball up in the zone. He's going to try and make me chase, and I'm going to take him deep. And he literally worked the count full and hit a game-winning home run to center field. And I'll never forget you rounding the bases yelling, "Didn't I? Didn't I?"
Yeah.
But Lenny, that spoke to a much deeper commitment to the sport. The thing that Darren brought to the table, which was, Darren made me feel well, let's put it this way. At that point in my career, I wanted Darren to be proud of me. That is a true leader. I learned so much from him pitching as a catcher. He would talk to me, and Darren wasn't like you. Darren wasn't very complicated because he didn't. You can't teach complication. You teach through an ease. And I can remember hearing you talk about hitters' approaches. And hey, listen, Manny used to say, "I just go up and look for a good pitch to hit." Well, there was thousands of hours of video behind that. And knowing the pitchers and their sequences and how they were going to work you, people don't understand the thousands of hours that were put into that. And Dutch not only had to do that as a catcher, but physically, Dutch had like 15 knee surgeries. For him to be as good as he was after all those physical problems talks about how much time and effort he put into it.
Amazing. That's great. Those are great points you make. I mean, this guy wasn't even supposed to make it. He wasn't even supposed to be playing. I mean, he was... Nope. He was a warrior. I mean, he was, and me and Dutch had been. I'll tell a quick story, and it's a story where John Clark had a bachelor party, and me and Dutch were heading back, and I was driving a new Benz in the suburbs out there in 1991 in Philadelphia, and the car kind of, hydroplane.
It was raining out.
I wasn't hammered. I never got hammered, but I was like...
Right, but you should have been driving.
Yeah, of course not. And the bottom line is, but I remember ending up on the road, and he ended up somewhere, and then we ended up at the police station, and these guys are fans. They let us go. And so... Yeah. You guys, out of the police station.
Well, hold on. Let me. You guys, you wrecked your car. You ran into a tree. I mean, it was a horrible accident, and you both could have easily been killed.
Yeah. They said if we didn't have muscles, take that however you want to take it, that we would have been dead because of the bruising of the heart, the impact. But the thing about that, here's how tough he is. So we're walking, the police just let us go. That's how big of fans they were. But I finally, I knew he wasn't giving in, but I just said, you know what, Dutch? Call me a pussy, bro, but if I don't go to the hospital, I'm going to die. And he said, yeah, he wouldn't break, dude. He said, me too.
Yeah, I know.
I had to break first. And because, we're walking about, it wore off, the shock and numbness. And,
yep.
And I literally said to him, dude, I gotta go to the hospital. I'm gonna die. And he said, me too. But just to show you how tough he was, he wasn't gonna be the guy that said that to me, you know. And
hey, Lenny, I told the story earlier about, and I didn't name the teammate, but I remember him challenging a teammate in the dugout. He said, "Listen, after this game, you and I are going to go, and I'm going to kick your ass." And this teammate was a huge guy. And the next inning, Dutch took a foul ball at the collarbone, broke his collarbone, and he tried to throw the ball back. Dutch tried to stay in the game, and broke his collarbone, shattered it, and he walked back in the dugout by this teammate. And he said, "Don't think this collarbone is going to stop me from kicking your ass."
Yeah,
Hey, Lenny, hang on one second. We're joined also by another former teammate, somebody who I know Darren mentored and who had an affinity for Dutch that went way beyond the baseball field, and he's a dear friend of mine and former teammate Todd Pratt. Morning, Pup. What's up?
Hey guys, what's up?
How you doing, pal?
Tank, man, how are you, bro?
Hey, dude. What's going on, Lenny? Hey, Curt.
All right, man.
Hey, we were just sharing some Dutch stories and then talking about what an amazing man he was.
Yeah, when I got called up there in '92, and they put me over there with Dutch and Dude and Head to Head and the Wild Thing.
Yep.
I mean, it was like a zoo.
You were part of that
It
group.
was like, yeah. It just, it made me feel welcome, and Dutch was obviously, I'm sure you've talked about it, I haven't been listening to the show, but just the leadership that he showed early and keeping that crew together. And then, obviously, I'm sure you discussed, but I guess you can ask me some other question. 93, just, going from first to first and him being...
Hey, Tank, I was telling the story about when he challenged a teammate in the dugout. He said, I'm tired of your crap. After this game, I'm going to kick your ass. And the next inning, he gets a foul ball off of the shoulder and shatters his collarbone. And he tried to stay in the game and threw the ball back to the catcher. He ends up coming out of the game, and he walks by this teammate, and he says, don't think this collarbone's going to stop me from kicking your ass after the game.
That was probably you.
That was amazing, because I remember just all his bench dogs were just like, yeah, this is really going to happen.
The thing is, though, I watched Tank, Tank got to work, behind Dutch, and Tank, played, 14, Tank, I don't know, he played, forever. I think he brought you up, right? He took you under his wing, and you ended up having a great career, and that was the kind of guy Daulton was. Daulton was a man. When I say man,
you got that right now.
Yeah. But I remember we brought Tank in. We brought Tank into to the group. So we were in St. Louis, and we all went to dinner at Ruth Chris, and we're at a big table, and Tank asked the waiter for ketchup. And Terry Tank. Tank, you remember that? And Daulton and Ted were like dying laughing. I said, Tank, come on, bro. This is the big leagues, man. And that's funny. Yeah. That was a good time, man. That was about as good a year as. It's hard to duplicate what happened that year.
Leader, Dutch was being a leader, and like Lenny says, being a mentor to me. I just, I tweeted out last night this, I owe my career to Dutch. He taught me the right way to grind, and you guys know all about that. It was, man, that's boy.
I owe a lot of what I became to Dutch as well. But I tell people, Todd, I never played with anybody before or after who was as good as he was as a leader. And I will tell you that, and I said this earlier, the 1997 Marlins do not win the World Series if Darren Daulton doesn't get traded to that team. No question.
I agree. That's no question. I talked to a few Marlins, and they were on that team. When he first got there, it was kind of like a country club. Guys were hooking balls out.
He had Sheffield, Bonilla, Kevin Brown, Al Leiter, a lot of veteran team. He walked in there and took control.
Yeah. Nothing against those guys. It's just they were kind of just going through motions. And I remember his first game, I think he had a bloop double. You're talking about a guy that's had, I don't know how many knee surgeries, probably no cartilage left in him. And he's out there legging out blue pit doubles that most guys are just like kind of way back on, And I think that's
and I always say a leader is someone who doesn't whose statistics don't matter to. It doesn't matter what your number or your salary is. You're a leader or you're not, and it has nothing to do with those things. And Dutch didn't matter. Didn't matter where Dutch was. Dutch would say what he had to say when he had to say it, and he never said the wrong thing. And he could take you in front of the camera and chastise you like he did to me in St. Louis, which I absolutely deserved and it helped. Or he knew you weren't as a guy he could publicly confront. He'd do it behind the scenes, and that. I've been around a lot of guys, and as we all have, and I've been around a lot of leaders, but I never was around someone who did it as well as he did. Todd Pratt, Lenny Dykstra, guys, listen, I love you to death. Thank you, guys, and cheers to our friend and teammate Dutch, Darren Daulton. God bless him, and God bless you guys. You guys have a great one.
All right. Thanks, man.
Take care, guys. Take care. 877-240-1776 is the call number. That was Todd Pratt and Lenny Dykstra talking about Darren Daulton, our teammate last night, who passed away at the age of 55 last night, was the quintessential leader, an amazing man who, and as I say as a Christian, I thank God I know that he found his way into the Lord in the latter half of his life, and I've never seen him happier than I saw him when we at the reunion, smiling away as only Dutch could do. So, God bless you, Dutch. Number 10, Darren Daulton. 877-240-1776 is the call number. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Tej Gill, former Navy SEAL and my little Yiannopoulos security guard, will join us back in a minute.